walk up the Chinese, you have no choice but to protect your own economic interest. But that said, China is evolving gradually economically, and the political and military need to protect your economic interests will grow together with the economic rise. So the question rather should be posed to the United States. What kind of relationship do you want to have with China?
嗨，欢迎大家来到果果的新闻频道。本期重要看点，你有没有想过，一个拥有14亿人口的国家，从30年前的极度贫困到今天的全面崛起，仅仅是为了过上好日子，就足以改变了整个世界的格局。香港富豪陈启宗面对外媒掷地有声地指出，中国的崛起不是选择，而是历史的必然。他更抛出一个震撼观点，我们熟悉的那个美国主导单极时代已经彻底结束了。为什么说中国的发展势不可挡？曾经连2艘美国航母都无力应对的中国，如今为何必须拥有强大的海军？这段采访将带你直击中国重返世界舞台中央的底层逻辑和坚定决心，请看前方发来的报道。
Our Beijing correspondent wrote in a Spiegel cover story about China, "This is the end of an era in which the global centers of power were clearly defined and the leading role of the US has never been questioned." Would you share this analysis?
Would I share this assessment? First of all, you have 1.38 billion people in China, call it 1.4. They were very poor 30-some years ago. So for them to seek a better living is a very natural thing for anybody anywhere in the world. And so the rise of China is an inevitability. As Henry Kissinger says, for 3,000 years, China was at the height of human civilization. When Europeans, not my word, Henry's, when Europeans were still living in caves, China was already at the height of civilization, and that's true. Now, the last 200 years, China was really down and out. So much so that Hong Kong was taken by Britain from 10,000 miles away. And so for China today to rise is an inevitability back to the trend line of history of 3,000 years. Could 200 years of bad history reverse 3,000 years of glorious history? Probably not.
But what he was talking about was not just economic growth. We have been used to economic growth in incredible figures in China for decades now. What he's talking about is that in addition to this amazing economic growth, there is now a new political ambition which became visible for just some time ago. So I think when he was speaking about the end of an era, this was more in a political or geopolitical aspect he meant it.
The reality of human history is that you can never totally divorce economics from politics. Economics will always bring political power. And political power is necessary to keep your economic growth. So get used to it. When you have a big country like China, 1.4 billion people rising economically, it is absolutely natural that political power will accompany the economic power. If not, you will not be able to maintain that growth. I cite you an example. China, 20% of the energy need is imported. Right now, not quite that much, but very soon it'll be 20%. So how many of you have watched a movie called Captain Phillips? Tom Hanks? You know that movie? Good. Young people have watched. So imagine a Chinese ship, a tanker, coming out of the Gulf of Hormuz, met some Somalia bandits. They couldn't tell the difference between Captain Phillips and Captain Chan. And they go after the Captain Chan ship. What are you going to do? How do you protect your energy security. Would you call the 7th Fleet of the United States and say, please help? Don't forget, 1996, 2 aircraft carriers from the United States 7th Fleet Navy parked outside of Taiwan, and there's nothing. Clinton sent them there. There's nothing China could do in 1996. That woke up the Chinese and say, wow, there's just 2 battles, 2 aircraft carriers from America. And America has 14 of them, by the way. 2 of them, the whole of China can do nothing. And so would they call the 7th Fleet if they mistake you for Captain Phillips? So no choice but to have a navy in order to protect your security of energy, right?
Sure, but in the West we've got the impression that now from the need of protection, having a navy, an army, there is a new political will to play a certain role on an international level. Is there any moment for you, a specific moment you could pinpoint when these political ambitions of China became clear in the near past?
I don't think that you can pinpoint a time. Perhaps the 1996 2 aircraft carrier sent by Clinton, President Clinton, was as close to it as ever. That woke up the Chinese. You have no choice but to protect your own economic interest. But that said, China is evolving gradually economically, and the political and military need to protect your economic interests will grow together with the economic rise. So the question rather should be posed to the United States. What kind of relationship do you want to have with China? If you want to have a good relationship with China, China can easily become more like Japan. Although, by the way, Japan has the 2nd largest defense budget in the world. Okay, so it's up to the United States what kind of a world of tomorrow you want. China is just doing what is necessary.
In the history of China, in the sense that, we have returned to our rightful sort of stature in the community of nations, and we're no longer going to stick to that policy of, reluctance and hiding our true intentions?
That is at a day and age when China was very poor. Its reliance on international affairs is very limited. So of course you do that. Don't cause trouble. But as I said, now 2 things happen. Number 1, China's economy is so integrated with the rest of the world. Energy, as I mentioned. Also there's food security. And so there is the need that stems from economics, number 1. Number 2, you have the United States. The United States, everywhere the Chinese turn, Africa, Latin America, Middle East, everywhere you go, America just slapped you on the face. That is just a fact. Just check history of the last 30 years, in particular the last 20 years. So the Chinese say, hey, how do we defend ourselves? We have no choice but to take measures that is commensurate with our economic prowess today. So the fact that enunciated that doesn't mean that it happened that day. It's such a simple-minded way of looking at things that it happened that day, it changed everything. No, there is 30 years of economic development before that gradually drive China into a position where it's so totally dependent in the rest of the world. And America acting in its own way that the Chinese feel very threatened. So eventually you have no choice but to have a statement such as,
so it's Chinese foreign policy, as you said, about economic interests. It's also about containing the US. I'm trying to paraphrase you here, that he believes it's high time for China to transform itself into a mighty force that could lead the world on political, economic, military, and environmental issues. So could you tell us what exactly he has in mind? What are those projects that he's talking about?
You mentioned about China containing the United States. Does China have the ability to contain the United States? Or has it been America that has been containing China? And if somebody want to contain you, what are you going to do? Lie down and say, rape me? What do? You have to do what is necessary for your own people. Of course. So, I think you asked the wrong question. It is not China who is containing the United States. It's the United States who is trying to contain China.
Point taken.
So China have no choice but to react, respond. Then to your other question about what it means. Well, if you're a big guy like China, there are certain responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And in fact, a lot of people are accusing China today for not taking enough international responsibility. So China tried to take some international responsibility, then you come around and say, hey, what's your intention? No-win situation. Such is the world. Wake up, grow up, get used to it. That's the real politique, like it or not. The only thing you can do is be strong enough to protect yourself, economically, militarily, and otherwise, right?
Right.
So China is doing any other country would do, except that China is a big country. I walk into any room, nobody notice. I'm 1.6 meters. Nobody would notice me. But if I'm Yao Ming, you know Yao Ming? 2.26 meters, the basketball player, NBA. He walk into any room, he'll be noticed. Like it or not, China is Yao Ming, 1.4 billion people. So whatever they do is in the limelight.
精彩视频看完了，各位观众，今天我们看的这一段影像是香港著名企业家陈启宗先生面对国际媒体的精彩发言。他掷地有声地向世界宣告，中国崛起不是选择，而是历史的必然。陈先生开篇就点明了一个核心事实，一个拥有14亿人口的国家，从30年前的贫困中奋起直追，人民追求美好生活是天经地义的权利。他将中国的复兴置于3000年文明长河中审视，指出中国在历史上绝大部分时间都处于人类文明的顶峰，近200年的屈辱不过是短暂插曲。他反问世界，短短200年的低谷怎么可能逆转3000年的辉煌主流？更重要的是，陈先生的清晰阐述了经济崛起与政治影响力不可分割的现实逻辑。当一个像中国这样的巨型经济体深度融入全球体系，它必然需要相应的能力来保护自己的核心利益，比如能源安全和粮食安全。他生动地列举了1996年台海危机和海上能源通道的例子，说明中国建设强大国防不是为了挑衅，而是为了自卫，是任何一个负责任大国都会做的必答题，是守护发展成果的盾牌。面对西方所谓中国有政治野心的质疑，陈启宗先生直击要害，问题的根源不在于中国想做什么，而在于美国长期以来对中国的遏制。中国就像篮球巨星姚明，体量决定了他无法隐藏，一举一动都备受关注。中国的目标清晰而正当，保障能源安全，保障粮食安全，成为国际社会中受尊敬的成员。这不是野心，而是担当。陈启宗先生展望未来，认为中国的回归将为世界带来巨大福祉，14亿人的创造力将在文化、艺术、科技等领域全面迸发，为人类文明增添浓墨重彩的一笔。中国的发展模式也为众多发展中国家提供了全新的可行的路径选择。总而言之，陈启宗的讲话传递出一个强音：中国的崛起是历史的回归，是人民的意志，是维护自身正当权益的必然。世界需要学会平视这个古老的东方大国，适应它重返世界舞台中央的步伐，因为这不仅是中国之福，更是世界之幸。谢谢大家观看，喜欢请点赞、评论加订阅。 你的支持是我最大动力，比心。明天见，拜拜。